Doing nothing, bragging every day around your people know you from A. Telling me you got it, you must be doing nothing. Bragging every day around your people know you from A. Telling me you must be ridiculous. Oh, y'all, I know, you know, I know. Oh, y'all, I know, ridiculous.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the Playbook. I'm your host, Colin Cimino, joined alongside Aiden Schoeff.
How's it going, guys?
And we're here again with head coach Sam Styler. And we are officially 1 week into the season. The Bulldogs are sitting at a confident 1-0. And let's recap last week's game. You guys won 35-27 against Niles West.
Yep.
You guys had major contributions all around the field, and G rushed for 92 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns on 11 attempts. And Bubba went 8 for 13, throwing for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
What stood out to you most about the team's performance last week?
Yeah, I mean, week one, there's always going to be a couple, major mistakes that are going to be made, but I think we limited those mistakes. I think the biggest place that we saw that was just differentials and penalties. We stayed extremely disciplined on the line. I think we got them to jump off sides 5 to 7 times or something like that. We didn't jump off sides once on the defensive side of the ball, which is huge. I think we only had about 2 or 3 penalties throughout the game. So that was massive for us. And then if you look at the contributions that we saw across the field, I mean, 3 passing touchdowns, 3 different receivers. We had G, obviously, with the 2 rushing touchdowns. Jacob Bertana, maybe not show up so much on the stat sheet with his 25 yards of rushing, but what he did for us in the pass blocking game was huge. The way that he ran, too, making them respect that, how hard he was going to run was phenomenal. If you look at the defensive side of the ball, how many guys contributed in tackles. I mean, Oscar Aguirre was all over the field, had about 11. Luke Ferguson was able to set the edge for us, super nice from that stud position. The way that, our corners played, following that first drive was phenomenal. I don't think they had a pass completed to John Evans Jr.'s side all night. I think that Jay Lee stepped up huge for us, had a couple deep balls his way and was able to break up a ton of them. So, great team effort in that first week 1 win. And obviously we're sitting at 1-0, but doesn't really mean anything going in this next week.
Right. Yeah. And how do you feel about the way the offense executed this week?
Yeah, phenomenally, man. I mean, if you look at that first half, I think every time we only punted the ball once throughout the entire night, right? And that's good. We want to make sure that we put ourselves in a position the entire night to be successful. And, both quarterbacks did a phenomenal job with what they needed to do. We had 1 turnover on the offensive side of the ball, and, those are going to happen. It's week 1, but I think both guys put us in a great position to win. So kudos to them, kudos to the offense, kudos to the offensive staff. It was a great performance week 1.
Yeah, and defensively, what adjustments did you make to slow this Niles West offense down? Yeah,
I mean, that first drive they came down, were marching pretty good. They completed a big fade ball there in the end zone for a touchdown. Overall on 3rd down we did a pretty nice job. 4th down we needed to get off the field a little bit better, but overall our guys were just swarming to the ball. You just saw not a whole lot of solo tackles throughout the night. We saw a lot of guys contributing in the tackling game there. And then obviously we were able to neutralize their pass game. A couple broken coverages that led to some big plays, but I mean outside of the broken coverages, I don't think they really, completed too many balls on the field, and that was huge for us. So we made, our secondary made some great adjustments throughout the game. Just understand to stay over the top and make sure we prevent the deep play. I think they only had about 3 or 4 big plays against us, but those 3 or 4 led to touchdowns. So we got to make sure we limit those going into next week.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And what players do you think stepped up and helped set the tone?
I mean, everybody, man. If you look across the board, dude, we had how many different receivers make catches in critical moments. I mean, even John Braddock had a massive catch for us on a 3rd down. Really was able to allow us to keep moving the drive. If you look at what our quarterbacks were able to do, right? Week 1, you had G was coming back as a all-conference player and marched us right down the field in the opening drive. Then Bubba came in and was able to do what he did through the air. Even some of the plays they made with his legs. He had a phenomenal night, but that run by G was awesome. And then just the whole defensive side of the football, man, they were swarming and making some great things happen. So I think it was just a collective team win by everybody.
Yeah, and how do you plan to build on this win as you prepare for week 2?
Yeah, I mean, last year, same kind of deal, right? We were 1-0 after week 1. It was a great feeling, but I think it's understanding that, Nothing's guaranteed for week 2. Doesn't matter what you end up doing week 1. We got to make sure we clean up some of the mistakes that we had on both sides of the ball and on special teams as well. If we clean those things up, good things can happen. But understanding that not a lot of people have us predicted to do a whole lot of things this year, and we got to kind of use that as fuel for what we want to do this year, and understand that every single week is going to be a battle. Doesn't matter what you did the week before. It's 0-0 every single week. So we got to make sure that we're not getting too high and not getting too low, and keep an even keel and make sure that we come out ready to rock and roll Friday night.
Yeah. Sounds good. And we're going to head to a word from our sponsors, but after that, we're going to kick it over to Aiden Schoeff to talk about the ongoing quarterback battle within RB's roster.
That's right, baby. In addition of the playbook, we're going to roll into our second segment here, Coach. We're going to talk about the ongoing quarterback battle. Obviously, that's what the public is going to call it. Maybe that's not what you want to call it.
Yeah.
But you got two special athletes, I think, in Giancarlo Garcia and Braden Novak at the position. They've sort of been battling it out for that starting quarterback position. Obviously, both got some time out on the field week 1. What have you seen from both G and Braden that makes the quarterback competition so close and makes them both get out there like that week 1?
They're both competitors, man. Like, I think it's something special when you have two very competent and very, qualified quarterbacks getting out there, right? It just makes us that much more lethal. It makes our opponent really have to think about what it is that we're going to be doing on that side of the ball. Both of them prove that they can get stuff done through the air and with their legs. Bubs had a couple great pickups on third down with some scrambles, had a great fourth down conversion with a scramble, and then obviously G had a 45-yard touchdown run, right? Like, being able to do both extremely well and extremely proficiently is huge for us, right? So we're going to keep battling it out. They're going to keep battling it out, and they know, too, at the end of the day that they're both brothers in this whole thing. They've been best friends since, like kindergarten or something like that, right? So, like, they know that they got each other's backs, and, our team understands that whoever we have out there, we're going to support. We're going to make sure that we're putting them in a great position to be successful. It still requires all the other 10 guys doing their jobs to make their life a little bit easier. So our guys are going to keep battling and keep competing, and those two guys are going to keep doing the same, and we're going to keep rolling with both of them until, figure this thing out. But they're doing a great job, man. I can't complain about either one of them.
Yeah, I just think it's so fascinating how much of a weapon Giancarlo is with his legs. I mean, we see it pop up on the stat sheet almost every week where he has at least one big run. It feels like whether it's for a touchdown or for a huge game in a crucial moment. So you kind of already talked about it there with that first question, but how do their playing styles sort of differ? And I think you can answer that question pretty easily, but how does it impact the offense? How does it, stay as a net positive?
I mean, obviously G is a gifted runner, right? Like, when you look at the way that he can carry the ball and the vision that he has, I think it's something special because he really only started playing quarterback when he was a freshman, right? Like, and that was kind of like halfway through his freshman year. So he's a more kind of natural, just athlete with the ball in his hands, right? Like, he knows kind of how to carry the ball in the field. He knows how to kind of read holes and cut, and knows the right times to get upfield and get vertical and when to try to stretch it a little bit. So he's, extremely gifted with both sides of it, right? Both kind of weapons, with his arm, with his legs. And then, it was nice seeing that Bubs can do the same thing too, right? That we got to make sure that our opponents can respect both things, and we're not going to kind of limit one game plan for either one of the guys. Like, the playbook's the playbook, and they both know they have to execute the playbook to its fullest extent. So we're going to continue to put them both in, position to be successful. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Wojak, has done a phenomenal job with that, understanding, what to call at what times. I mean, he's one of the best play callers in the state, in my opinion. So he's going to keep doing the job correctly, and our guys are going to continue to execute to the best of their ability. And, allowing us to have two guys compete for it is a good problem to have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Braden went 8 for 13, 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. So pretty impressive way to pop up on the stat sheet week 1. But in terms of the quarterback position, what you're looking for in that position, a leader, what qualities beyond the stats are you looking for when a guy carries his team out there?
I mean, obviously a leader, right? Like, I think we talked about it last week a little bit. Like, there's no harder position in any sport than playing quarterback, right? It requires you knowledge of every single position on that field, where everyone needs to be, what the assignments are for every single guy, being able to call out where our protection is up front, understanding where our receiver is going to be, when to pull the ball, when to throw the ball, where to throw it, right? Make sure you got the right reads. So, like, the guys be knowledgeable, and both of them are extremely knowledgeable of their assignments. They got to be, a leader in there. They got to make sure that they command that huddle, command the respect of the guys around them. They both do a phenomenal job with that. And again, last but not least, they got to be competitors. And that's not something that we look for just out of our quarterbacks, out of everybody on our team. And I think Friday night showed that we have two extremely competitive kids battling for that spot. So whoever we got back there, they're putting us in position to be successful for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
So, as you get this thing ironed out throughout the season, even if you do that, how do you plan to keep both players involved and motivated as the season goes?
I mean, they know that, they're finding ways to make sure our team is, it's a team first mentality. That's what we talk about all the time, right? When we talk about the 3 pillars of our program, team first is up there. So it doesn't matter. I mean, whether it's a quarterback, position or not, everybody guys knows that we got 11 guys that are out on that field at one time, right? And there's always ways to contribute. If you look at our sideline from Friday night, the energy that guys who were even on the sideline were bringing was huge for us, right? Just being locked into the game. So our guys know that, no matter who's out there, they're there to support their teammates. I think both those guys understand extremely well that, yeah, it's competition, but we want competition, right? We don't want anything handed to us, whether it's on the football field right now in high school or down the road in life. We got to work for everything. And I think our guys both know that, whoever's going to be out there, it's the other guy's job to support them and make sure that we're locked in because, at any given moment, we could flip it the other way, depending on what the situation calls for. So I think both the guys do a phenomenal job staying locked in. If you look at practice, whether one guy's taking a rep, the other guy's on the sideline, he's sitting right next to the coaching staff, understanding what the play is so that he knows exactly what needs to be done. He's taking mental reps to ensure that when it's time is called, that he's ready to rock and roll with it. So both those guys do a great job, and I got to tip my cap to both of them. They've handled this extremely well, and they're going to continue to do so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think another interesting part of the story is both of them aren't seniors.
Yeah.
So they will both be back next season, right? So it kind of becomes a tougher thing in the long road as well. So if you decide to roll with a certain guy at some point this season, I'm not saying that you will, but if you do, what does that look like going into next offseason after the season with both of these guys?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, man. They both have expressed their interest in, playing quarterback, and they're going to continue to develop as best they can in that position. And again, doesn't matter what happens this year. Obviously we want to be successful this year, but when we're talking about their senior year, they know, and our entire program knows, there's no guaranteed starting spot, right? I don't care if you're Damian Nieves, who's been a 3-year varsity starter for us. Just because you're a senior doesn't mean that all of a sudden, this thing happened last year, doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to you this year. So they both know that, if they want to continue to pursue being a quarterback at the high school level, they know that they got their buddy battling right next to them. So they got to continue to work hard throughout the offseason and make sure that, they're putting us in a position to be successful next year. So there's nothing that's guaranteed. Tomorrow night against Hinsdale South, there's nothing that's guaranteed, throughout the week, throughout the season, and definitely nothing that's guaranteed in the next season. So they continue to do what they do, continue to lead the way that I know they can lead, and good things happen for them next year.
Absolutely. Well, there we have it from Coach Styler, a little insight into the quarterback room. We're going to kick it to Colin after this word from our sponsors.
Hello and welcome back to the third and final segment of the Playbook. Coach Styler, looking ahead into Week 2's game against Hinsdale South, what adjustments from Week 1 do you want to see carried into this game?
Yeah, just cleaning some stuff up. I think all phases of football have some things that we want to clean up. Offense, we got to make sure that we continue to protect the football, continue to make those big plays. Defense, we got to make sure we prevent big plays. If we can stop the run, then good things are going to happen for us. And then special teams, obviously, we limit their field position, and we win that field position battle, good things are going to happen for us. So just clean up the little mistakes that we saw Week 1 and make sure that we don't make those same ones going into Week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you guys done anything differently at practice to prepare for this game?
Same thing as always, right? Our philosophy is that it's about us. It's always going to be about us, right? We got to make sure that we perfect what we do best and make sure that they play our game plan the way that we want them to. We got to know what they got coming at us, and I think we have a pretty good idea of what they present and what they're really good at, and we make sure that we find a way to neutralize what they want to get done. And I think we've done a great job with that so far this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And my partner, Aiden Schoeff, has created a player profile for one of Hinsdale South's receivers, so we're going to kick it back over to him.
Yeah, I just felt like this was a name worth mentioning. 6 receptions, 179 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Speaks for itself, Coach. Dante Jett, he's 6'3", 165, so he's a tall receiver.
Yes, he is.
With a player with a frame like that, who's capable of racking up those kinds of yards, what is your plan to minimize his production?
Yeah, obviously when you have a guy like that, it's important to have a game plan going into it. We feel very confident with the way that our corners played last week, that we got guys out there to compete with it. Obviously know that he's a deep ball threat. If you go back and watch that film, he had a couple of massive plays that were kind of all down the field, right? He had a couple nice catches over the middle, but his game is getting the ball deep, so we got to make sure that we stay over the top of him and make sure that we don't put him in a position. If we can pressure that quarterback too a little bit, good things can happen for us. So, our guys are our guys, and we trust every single one of them to go out there and carry out their responsibilities. So we're not shying away from anybody. We're going to make sure, though, that we, perfect what we do best, and we're going to make sure that we got guys that can do that.
Absolutely. Well, what are your keys to the game? I guess more of a general question. When I think of keys to this game, you got to maximize the run game. The Hornets let up over 250 rushing yards last week against Wakanda. I think that was a big reason why they lost as sizably as they did. hold Dante Jet down. We just talked about him, sizable receiver. He can get up there and go get it. And then get Braden comfortable, get Braden Novak comfortable. I think with the Hornets' defense giving up so many points last week, maybe he can find some comfortability in the pocket and get some deep balls going and stuff like that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man.
Yeah.
I think if we got an offense that can establish the run, man, again, we got some competent ball carriers back there. So if we can get that ground game going pretty well early on, I think that's going to be a good key for us on the offensive side of the football. If we could prevent the big plays, which we saw that they capitalized on them last week. So if we prevent those big plays and we win on third down, try to prevent them from putting themselves in a fourth down position where they can, convert, good things are going to happen for us on defense. And again, they got some weapons back there that they can utilize in the special teams game. So we got to make sure we limit those big plays just across the field. So make big plays on offense, prevent big plays on defense and special teams, and hopefully we come out with a win.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that'll do it here from the home studio here at RBTV. That was the second edition of the Playbook. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys got all the insight that you wanted heading into Friday's game against Hinsdale South. I'm Aiden Schoeff alongside my partner and Colin Cimino. We'll see you tomorrow night. Be there or be square against Hinsdale South. First home game of the year. Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate you. Thanks, guys.
Bragging every day around you, people know you from telling me you got it, you must be doing nothing. Bragging every day around you, people know you from telling me you must be.